Hi, I'm Richard Kind, and you're listening
what she's saying.
to the CVH podcast. That's what she said.
Yes. Thursday, August 28th. Welcome. I'm doing the show from home. This is home. This is my office. I was going to do this. I've got a great space in the basement. I think it was an old theater room. Whoever had it before, it was a theater room. I've got it like it's like a little mini band area. We got the drums and the guitars. Anyway, I was going to do it down there, but the light is no good. I sit before a gigantic window here, and so this light is good. I wanted to talk about something. This was so strange. I sit here a lot. This is the spot I sit in quite a bit, and I'm getting my work done. What do I mean by work? I got my scores everywhere. I'm doing my work. Studying, singing, blah, blah, blah. This. And on this shared wall behind me is a TV room, and my son was in there, and he's got YouTube on, and I've got all the parental controls set up. Like, it's not, he can't find weird stuff. So YouTube, it's safe. And so sometimes what ends up happening is that you hear videos that are even maybe even too young for an 11-year-old, like sometimes it's still, I think he reverts back to what's like being suggested to him. And sometimes that's even like younger than maybe he would want to look at. Anyway, I should look at the controls. Anyway, neither here nor there. But through the wall, I hear a rumble of a voice that's speaking, not so dissimilar to mine, maybe a little higher pitch, but similar. And I tune into it and quickly realize that there's absolutely no break in the speech, in the talk, in the voiceover. It's a voiceover. He's watching some video and somebody's voice, is voicing over what's happening. Doesn't matter what's happening. It's just a voiceover. There's no break. There's no pause. There's no breathing. They've taken out any and all space where you might get distracted, where you might grab for something else to look at, where you might change the video, where you might just move on. They have removed this ability, this moment, this like a fraction of a second where somebody takes a breath, and they've taken that out in order to get you to stare at this thing more, longer. It was unceasing. It was absolutely unceasing. And I thought, first of all, evil, 100% evil. Because clearly it's just some sort of marketing tool to make sure that the longer you look, the more ads they can show at you, the more money they can make, And so this person who's created this content was, it's like a kid's video. It's like a race. They're watching toys race, toys that race are racing. And so he's racing different things. And so here's this guy making content for kids, fairly harmless. I would hope the guy enjoys what he's doing. I don't know. But what's happened now is that he's removed any and all space between speech and thought so that nothing gets to cook. Nothing gets to sizzle for a second. There's no emphasis because it's just one long drone. I'm not even going to give you an example. I'm sure people think that I drone, but I think I definitely leave the space for the breath, right? And I leave a little room for the thought to continue. But this is just like relentless speech, no breath, no stop. And so I wanted to look into it because it was making me nuts through the wall. First of all, I'm trying to get some work done, and it was just like this unceasing noise. I'm sure that I am an unceasing noise to him in that room, but too bad. It's my house. And so I wanted to look into it, and sure enough, when I publish my podcast here, there's a couple of different options as to how. There's like a couple of editing tools, none of which I use, but they're options, and I see that I have to click through them as I post it, and sure enough, here was one that said remove silence, and I looked at it and I investigated it, and sure enough, this thing would go through my podcast and take out every breath, every pause, every moment of silence, they would just take it out. So it would just be one constant stream of me, all in an attempt to get more people to listen longer. I have no temptation towards this button simply because the people that listen all the way. I hope the silences are what makes this real. I think the pausing is we're resonating, right? We're communicating with each other. When I stop speaking, you're thinking, we're in a relationship, right? Anybody who listens to this, we're kind of in a relationship where we check in on each other. And I don't always hear all of you, although plenty of people check in with me, and I appreciate it. But you hear me, and I think that we are having a dialogue quietly in our collective heads in the pause, in the break. I may feel the need to fill the space when I'm sitting here and I hear the silences myself, and I think, oh my God, that's going on too long, and might feel the need to talk more, perhaps, but I would never set it up so that it was just like one unending video of just, or audio of just me speaking. What a fucking nightmare. First of all, my 20-minute podcast would be like 8 minutes. Maybe we could just all get it in faster. I suspect, like Spotify's got like the play it faster button. Even if somebody sends me a message on WhatsApp, I got that at like 2 times, so I can just get through it quicker. But I don't know, something about this space, I think warrants a pause, right? A silence and a thought. Like let's have a thought about what we're doing. When I'm not scared of the pauses, I hope that's when I make my best points. But this was really disturbing, and so I started clicking through on my son's YouTube account, and it's all like this. They're all like this now, just this unending. And then I got in the car, and it was on NPR. I don't put it on NPR, but it was on NPR, and I listen to Lithium. I don't know about all you, you 90s kids. We all listen to Lithium, but it was on NPR, and it was somebody talking about something inside the brain or something like that, and she was also like doing this technique. Now, I was told later that perhaps this is just a hyper person who speaks like this, but it had that same effect of just like non-stop drone where you don't get a chance to let anything that has been said resonate, sizzle. When we sing, this is so true. I was listening to a recording of Puritani yesterday or 2 days ago with my wonderful friend Lisette Oropeza and Larry Brownlee and Ricardo Fritza, and I think they recorded it in Dresden or the Dresden Philharmonic. It doesn't matter. The pauses are what gives me the chills. The silence is what gives me the chills, and we're taking liberties sometimes with how much of that pause we actually use, and it might just go one fraction beyond comfort. And my God, this tension that's built in the silence is sometimes way more interesting than the singing. Now, the singing was absolutely stunning. Lisette and Larry, and I wrote to Lisette almost immediately because I was wiping tears. Wow. Okay, this show we're going to do in New York this year. This is the. I'm sure this is going to be the show of the season. I'm sure of it. You have to hear this recording between Larry and Lisette. My God, I feel I was motivated. All of a sudden, I was like all charged up to get my work done. I've never done it before, so this is the first time for me, and I'm just getting the dirty work done. As the time sort of gets closer, and you got to get motivated. You got to get pumped up to do the new thing. And once I heard this recording, I thought, oh my God, I have to be a part of this. I don't care if I am a backup singer to those two. I'll be a backup singer to them for the rest of my life. They were just phenomenal. Anybody who thinks that we're not living in the time of great singing is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Larry is the GOAT. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like the compliments. He will shy away from the compliment very quickly. He does not like it. But Larry is the GOAT. You are living amongst the Michael Jordan of of high-flying Rossini slash French tenors. And Larry's been adding a lot of repertoire to his stuff recently. But I mean, as far as this, like, the high-flying theatrics of Bellini and Donizetti and Rossini, the GOAT is among us. If you have not heard Larry sing live, do yourself a favor, because one day Michael Jordan retired and all of us that could have seen him didn't. He still plays, and he's playing at the top of his game. Go see Larry. And Lisette has now joined the ranks of people who make me cry when they sing. And there's not many. There's only a few. Aaron Morley's one, and Nadine Sierra's another, and Lisette. I mean, I was like, quickly getting very emotional, listening to her phrasing, listening to her interpretation, and wow, the Puritani in New York this year, and it's going to be on an HD. You can hear that one. You can go to the movies and see that one. But come to the show. We really appreciate it when you're at the show. Those HDs are important, and they do well, and they make money, and they bring our product all over the world, which we need and love. But from the singing standpoint, we really like you in the theater too. If you're in earshot of New York, don't miss this one. Anyway, I was listening to that recording, and really the pauses were getting me. They were really making me feel emotional. And, I just found myself horrified by this video, this YouTube video that my son was listening to. Yes, he was kind of stoned looking at it. Of course, any kid looking at YouTube at 11 is kind of like in La La Land. But, there it was. It's after school. You let him decompress for a minute. No big deal. But this thing had him stoned, just kind of like staring at it. And I said, are you getting any of that? He says, yeah, I like it. And I was convinced it was controlling him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was convinced it was controlling him. This unending, breathless, spaceless speaking was just felt to me evil. It was an attempt to make you sit there and listen. I'm giving you the pauses. You think I'm not, but I am. You hear me, and I'm resonating, and I'm in your ears, but I breathe. I leave the pauses in. I don't edit this thing. The only time I ever edit the podcast is when I have a guest, and I give them 24, 48 hours, and I say, look, if anything you've said you want to take out, we take it out. I always say that. Very rarely have people done it. It's been done, but it's rare. I did get like a list. One time I got a list. I almost canceled the whole thing. I wrote to a singer and I said, hey, if in the morning anything you think, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, I probably shouldn't have said that, just write to me and I'll take it out. And I got a list, and I thought, you just gave me 2 hours of editing homework. It was somebody slightly paranoid. I won't say who. I'll let you fans figure out who that was. It was not a man. Yeah. But it was just something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get into it. I felt like, we're served as people by letting something sizzle for a second, letting something resonate, letting something echo for a second. I don't know. I'm learning that. I like the silence more. I think everything's way too loud. I think that's the 46-year-old in me, where like if I'm backing up the car, I have to turn the radio off so I can see better. I see better when it's quieter. Oh, I've been home for a minute now, a week and a half, even a whole week and a half. And, I'm going to kind of dance in and out. I'm going to go to LA next week for Mozart Requiem, which I need to locate and learn or look at. I sang it a long time ago. But, we're going to be at the Hollywood Bowl next Thursday, a week from today. And, the old no big deal Hollywood Bowl, 15,000 people. It's a wild place to sing. I've sung for large crowds before, but that Hollywood Bowl feels different. You go, okay, the Beatles played here. Okay, Bob Dylan played here. Okay, the Doors played here. Like that. Tom Petty played his last concert at the Hollywood Bowl. You know, that kind of stuff resonates with me. I love that, actually. I think Van Halen played their last concert there. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But, you know, the number of people that have been on that stage, you go, okay, crazy. And the audience comes out for it. You know, what's better than a amphitheater summer, end of summer, late summer concert? It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm going to go, I got to go do some coaching, get some work done in Philadelphia a week after that. And then again, just home for a minute before I go to Paris to start my Damnation with my brother in Faust Crime, Benjamin Bernheim. Once again, Ben and I bringing out our favorite duo, this classic duo where where I get all the evil laughs and he gets all the applause. Rightfully, deservedly. This is I'm entering the trifecta of Mephistos now, right? This is the trifecta. Most people don't get to this. This is tough. So it's, you know, Faust, it's Mephistopheles in Gounod's Faust. And then Mephistopheles in Boito's Mephistopheles. And now, again, Mephistopheles in Berlioz's Damnation. This is the trifecta. I'm completing it. Only 2 of which I'll have done in Paris, but 3 total. And with my buddy Ben, you know, like who better? This is a great duo. I love working with Ben. He's phenomenal talent and a great guy, wonderful guy to work with, and one of my biggest supporters, honestly. Somebody I just love to death, and so we'll be doing that. And then starts our big jaunt in New York. So the season's heading off well. I appreciate you guys listening. You know I do. I love you for listening, right? You knew that. I'm going to try and find the button. Where's the button where it plays the outro? Is that the outro music? Let's hope so. I didn't check before. Usually I check before I start. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I love you for listening. Everybody, enjoy the pauses a little bit more. Enjoy the silence. Take a second. Let it resonate. Fuck all that noise. Right. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.